worry about nothing, no.
Now let's talk about music. Let's get into music now. Let me talk about recent albums that have come out real quick. Alright, so I'm going to be referring to my computer a lot, so bear with me. The first album I'm going to talk about is Nas's album King's Disease 2, which just came out this past Friday. Shout out the legend himself, Nasir Jones. Shout out to man. Shout out to that man. King's Disease 2, the follow-up to his last album, King's Disease, which came out around the same time last year. Nas and Hit Boy. Hit Boy! Wow. What's good? Hit Boy produced this whole album. Nas killed this whole album. Bars, beats, good themes, no skips. Like, every track is dope. All the features are dope too, from Eminem and EPMD on EPMD 2. I love the original track on the Black Messiah soundtrack as well. The single Rare is dope. I love Death Row East. We're talking about his relationship with Tupac back in the day and, you know, clearing shit up. The intro was dope. I love You Know the Vibes of A Boogie and YG. I love that track. Let's see, Store Run was a cool turning point in the album. I love Store Run. Moments is cool. Talking about, you know, moments that we can't relive again. Really great track. That's the only type of vibe that Elvis Davidson can give you. Only a legend can give you tracks and albums like this where he's reflecting on his life and, you know, still giving you fresh modern vibes, but he's still reflecting back on things he's been through, things he's learned. This album is literally just like a continuation of what he did on King's Disease, and it's amazing. Love this album. One of the best rap albums of the year so far, in my opinion. I love this album. The track with Charlie Wilson to me is probably the weakest track on the album, No Phony Love, but it's still a cool track. It's not bad. The track with Lauryn Hill, Nobody, to me, Nas is okay on that track. Like, I was cool with him on the track, it was alright, but Lauryn Hill's verse on Nobody, woo! Lauryn was not playing with y'all. Lauryn got her shit off on Nobody. She told y'all to all suck a dick on Nobody. She said, y'all mad at my lateness, I'm trying to save lives. And I was like, whoa. That was deep. I'm like, that's actually deep. Like, she said, y'all mad at my lateness, so I'm trying to save lives. Like, that was deep. I loved it. So, Lauryn Hill 8 on Nobody. Her verse was crazy. She killed it. She shut everything down. Everything that people be saying about her, she came back with a clap back. She said, yeah, shut up. Suck my dick. She's like, y'all not really in tune with the way I'm in tune to the world and what I'm trying to do. Y'all not in tune with my mission and the way I'm trying to operate. So if y'all not on my level, then leave me alone. And I was like, honestly, Miss Lauryn Hill, salute. I feel you. Salute. You know what I'm saying? I imagine. Brunch on Sundays or Blxst. I love that song. Brunch on Sundays. The way he illustrated Brunch on Sundays, he illustrated it so well. Nas is a master of illustrating a story and a picture for you. The way he just illustrates and just maps shit out, it's so vivid. It's like Nas is like top 5 MCs that can just like vivid, like when it comes to like vivid storytelling, Nas is top 5. If not, like probably like #1, like amazing. So Brunch on Sundays was everything. Count Me In. I love that beat by Hit Boy. Count Me In, you did that beat. Hit Boy, you did that beat. My Bible's cool too. Composure's cool. Yeah, man, I'm so proud of Nas and Hit Boy for them continuing the vibes on King's Disease 2. King's Disease was one of my favorite albums of last year. I think it was my top 5 hip hop albums of last year, and this will probably be my top 5 of this year as well. I love this album. So proud of Nas and Hit Boy. Hit Boy killed the production, and Nas killed the bars. He killed the energy. The sequencing is dope. It flows so well. No track feels out of place. No track feels unnecessary. No track feels like better than the other. They all feel so equally gelled and put together so perfectly. Nas is a legend in this shit, and this album is another one that just further cements that. I think Nas had a really dope period in his career in the 2000s and 2010s where, in terms of making projects, besides Life is Good, in terms of making projects, a lot of people weren't really feeling him. You know, when he linked up with Kanye, like, even though I like the Nasir album, a lot of people weren't really feeling that album. A lot of people weren't really feeling a lot of his 2000s albums. But he's always maintained his legendary status throughout, and I love that when he finally linked up with Hit Boy, I think Hit Boy has been the producer that has been able to bring out some of the best in him, you know, in his career thus far. In terms of, I don't know what Hit Boy just brings out of Nas, but he just brings out this spirit in Nas that just makes him reflective and you know, and harken on his OG status while still also sounding fresh and up to date and like not dated at all. It's amazing. Like, so I love it. I think it's a brilliant pair to have like this like new age producer work with this legendary old school rapper, and they come together, and the way they combine their forces, it's been amazing. So yeah, this album, I love it. So proud of Nas. One of the best rap albums it is so far. Love it. I'll probably give it a 4 out of 5. Love this album. Shout out Nas. Alright, next album I'm gonna talk about is Tinashe's album 333. Shout out to Tinashe, one of my faves in R&B. I love Tinashe so much. I'm so proud of her. This is her second independent album on her own label, Tinashe Music, after she left RCA. Such a good project. I'm so proud of her. I think, unlike Songs For You, which is her first independent album that she put out at the end of 2019, really good album that y'all slept on, really good album. That's a project that y'all definitely need to go back to. Great project. But I think unlike that project where it was more so like a lot of straightforward R&B and pop, this album feels a lot more experimental. It feels a lot more like she took her time to really like come up with like a concept and a vibe and a lane that worked for this album. You could tell that she took her time to really craft this album a little bit more than Songs For You. But this album is really good, man. I think with 333, the theme is like, you know, she said those are angel numbers, and that means like you're on the right path and things are working out the way they should, and in its own time and in its own way. You gotta trust the process and trust yourself, and you know, let the journey take you on the way, you know, let the journey take you where it's gonna take you, and trust that things will work out right. And that's like the vibe throughout this whole album, is like coming into your own and being self-aware and self-assured of who you are and what you're trying to do. And I think that definitely showed throughout this album with a lot of the, you know, the lyrics, the production, and the experimental. But like, you could tell she wanted to experiment with this album, but she feels secure in what she did on this album, and it shows. So really cool project. Some of my favorite tracks off the album. I love the singles. Pasadena was the first single. A lot of people didn't like that song, but I love Pasadena. I put it in my BSM, what was it, 18, I think? My last BSM 18. I love that song with Buddy. I just love Pasadena. I think it's a summer. It makes you feel like you're having like the best day ever inside, you know, at the height of summer. It feels good. I love that song. And Bouncing, got that bouncing on the can we talk about that video? Yo, Tinashe killed that video. That choreography was insane. Shout out to Tinashe with Bouncing. Great song as well. It's the second single off the album. I love Bouncing. The new single on the album is Undo, Back to My Heart, which is a really cool, like, you know, kind of like pop EDM vibe that's really good. It works for her. I like how she has a lot of vibes on this album. She has some songs that are more like pop. She has all songs that are more R&B. And she has some songs that are like kind of like more hip hop. And she has a ton of songs that are like really like alternative, experimental. But it all feels consistent, and it all feels like it fits together really well. So Tinashe is brilliant at really meshing together so many different genres and vibes and making it all consistent and making it all cohesive. She's really good at that. So she really did her thing with this album. I also love I Can See the Future. I love that song. I can see that future. I can see that future. And it looks like you and I. And it looks like you and I. Love that song. I like I Can See the Future. X is cool. Let's see. I love Unconditional. The track produced by Kitchenada. Kitchenada, you killed the beat. The two different beats. It's like it's a two-parter. Tinashe's also really good at two-parters as well. She did it with Cash Race on Songs For You, and now she did it with Unconditional on this album. I love Tinashe's two-parters. Unconditional is so dope. Both parts are crazy. I love what Kitchenada did on the production. Insane. I love Unconditional. Angels was about to with Cash Page. Shout out to Cash Page. I also love Last Call. I like Last Call a lot too. Last Call is a gem. I like that track a lot. And Small Reminders, that's another gem too. I love Small Reminders. Great track. Shout out Small Reminders. Really cool track. I love the message on that song about, like, you know, just the small things to remind yourself about all the time. Like, you know, keep doing what you're doing. Don't let people get you down. You know, just do your thing. Like, I love all the stuff that she was talking about on that song. Such an inspirational song that really, like, a lot of people need to hear, you know. Love that song. This food is so good, y'all. These sweet potatoes are hitting. And I'm nowhere near being done too, which is crazy. I can take my time to eat this. I'll take my time to eat it. So yeah, man, shout out to Tinashe and 333 album. So proud of her. Tinashe is independent, but you don't even realize it because of the way she moves. You know, she's on her shit right now with her promo. She's on her shit. She's everywhere. You know, she's really promoting herself really well, so I'm proud of her. You know, the Songs For You album, you can tell with Songs For You, she was trying to figure her way out. But now with this album, like, she seems like she knows what she's doing. She has her rollout together. Her team is like on it. Like, she, you know, she has videos coming. She has performances lined up. Like, she has, you know, she's promoting everywhere. Like, really proud of her. She's really doing her thing this time. So I'm proud of her. Tinashe, doing your thing, mama. I see you. Next album I want to talk about is Lion Babe's new album, Rainbow Child. This is Lion Babe's third official album, but their second album as independent artists. If you know me, you know I love Lion Babe. Lion Babe are like one of my favorite like future neo soul groups of the moment right now. I love them. They're amazing. Shout out Jillian and shout out Astro Raw. Shout out, you know. Shout out to my guys. I love them. This album has been in the making for a minute. Really cool album that I think is just really centered on self-expression, self-love, and being a rainbow child, which I think for them is just someone who like embraces all aspects of themselves and all aspects of life, is open to the possibilities of life, just someone who's open to wonder and just being in tune with you know, the good and the bad, and just taking life as it is. Like, that's what this album gives me in terms of this messaging and its vibe. I really love it. Some of my favorite tracks off the album, it just came out this past Friday too, all on August 6th, but I guess I'd say Rainbow was a cool intro. Rainbow! Really cool vibey intro with Ghostface Killah, who had a nice verse as well. Shout out to Ghostface. I like Rainbows. I think Radiant Child was dope. I love Going Through It. It's a track about just going through it in life and just going through shit but getting through it, you know what I'm saying? I like that track as well. I like It's Okay. And I love Frida Kahlo and Get Up with Trinidad James. Those are my favorite tracks, I think, as well. I don't remember a lot of tracks because it just came out, but it's a really solid album. Definitely a really memorable album. Not a memorable. Definitely an album where you could tell that they really took their time to come up with the messaging, to really thread the same message and the same vibe throughout each track in a different way. So it's a really cool album. I wish it was longer. It only has like 8 tracks or 9 tracks, I think. I wish it had been longer. The last album had like, I think like 15 to 20 tracks, something like that. So this album felt really short to me. It's only like 23 minutes. It only has like 9 tracks. I wish it was longer, but it is a good album. So it's, you know, it's not a bad album. I just wish it was longer. But it's a good album though. This was good, yo. I'm about to sweat on. That's another thing, y'all. It's hard as hell in this house. I had a fan blowing, but it is 90 degrees right now in Boston. And I'm sweating my ass off. I'm hot as hell. But yeah, Rainbow Child's a good album. I love Frida Kahlo. I like Frida Kahlo. I love Get Up with Trinidad James. Yeah, I like this one. I like Signs, Going Through It, Radiant Child, Rainbows. Yeah, really cool album. I'm proud of them. Shout out Lion Babe. Cool project. Alright, next album I want to talk about is Billie Eilish's album, Happier Than Ever. Ever since I left you, I've been happier than ever. Shout out Billie Eilish on her sophomore album. No sophomore slump in sight. It's album #1 after Deserve To. It's a great album. It's a great follow-up. I think it's a great follow-up to her first album because it's different. This album is more laid back and more subdued and more chill and more I guess, I don't know, like, whereas the first album was like more like, you know, experimental and it was like in your face and really dark, and this album was more so light and like even with the color change, like she went to blonde hair, and the aesthetic of this album was like more like, you know, blonde and beige and more muted. So it's like a more muted album. It's more calm, but I love the transition that she had on this album in terms of the sonics and in terms of the messaging. With this album, it still has a lot of variation in sounds. Like there's some like edgy industrial tracks like I Didn't Change My Number and, you know, Oxytocin, Therefore I Am, you know, NDA, and they're more calm like ballad tracks such as like, you know, Getting Older, you know, Goldwing, Not My Responsibility, and Not My Responsibility, Everybody Dies, Happier Than Ever, Your Power. Like those tracks are more like, you know, ballad, you know, heavy message. And then there's some like mid-tempo vibey tracks like like Lost Cause, Billy Bossa Nova, you know, Aaliyah. So really cool mix of tracks on this album. My Future, really cool mix of tracks. I love the messaging on this album in terms of like her getting older and kind of coming to her fame and realizing that, like, you know, there's so many things that she has to keep track of in terms of how to be happy, in terms of like getting rid of certain people, and, you know, coming to terms with like her celebrity. And, you know, she just talks about like all the things that she's going through in her life. She really has chronicled it really well in this album in a really brilliant way. I think Billie Eilish is a masterful songwriter, and she's a real master at, like, you know, honing her emotions and the things she's going through in all of her songs. She said with this album, she said it, like, her and Phoenix really just took their time, and it wasn't really a project at first that they were setting out to make. They just kind of made it as it went, as, you know, as time went on. Like, they were just making each track by itself, and then it kind of came together as an album, which I think is really dope. And you can kind of tell that she said she didn't really record like many tracks other than these tracks. Like, all these tracks were the tracks that she recorded for this album. And I think it's really cool that she didn't like waste time like just making tracks just to make tracks. She made tracks when you know, when she felt inspiration, and when the spirit hit her to like write about something. And I think that's dope. Yeah, so I love this album. This is a really cool evolution for Billie Eilish in terms of like how she's like, you know, evolving her sound while still, you know, keeping her sound consistent. And also, whereas I think with the first album was more about her, like, you know, being really young and like, you know, just kind of trying to figure out what life is about. Where this one, I feel like she's more sure of who she is, and she's more so trying to walk us through what it's like to be like a big star and trying to be in being young and going to this next stage of your life where like you're not like, this is not your first album, you're not new to seeing like you've been here and now like trying to figure out what's next, you know. So really cool transition album. Some of my favorite tracks on this album, I didn't change my number. I love that track. I love My Future. I like Oxytocin. Let's see. Well, I love Lost Cause. My favorite tracks off the album, I love Lost Cause. I also love Not My Responsibility and Overheated. Talking about like everyone's expectations of her body and who she's supposed to be and what she's supposed to do. I love that. I'm overheated. I love Your Power. I love NDA. Therefore I Am, and Happier Than Ever. Yeah, so really cool album, solid from head to toe. I don't think there's like not one track I didn't like. The tracks to me that were a little bit like whatever was maybe Haley's comment, but you know, I still appreciated what it was. You know, and Everybody Dies I was okay on, but for the most part this album was really solid. I really loved it, so I'll probably give this album a 4 out of 5 as well. I love this album. Shout out to Billie Eilish, did her thing. Great project. Alright, next album we're talking about is Isaiah Rashad's album, The House Is Burning. Shout out to my fellow Taurus brother, Isaiah Rashad. That's a really cool album. I think a lot of people will either like love this album or think it's whack. I'm kind of somewhere in the middle. I don't think this album is amazing, but I also don't think it's like whack at all. I think it's a pretty solid album, but definitely not like amazing. I think he could have done more to have really come up with some like more interesting tracks and also some more like accessible tracks for the mainstream. I feel like he could have done that with at least one tracks off the album. And I also feel like he could have spent more time in the album really talking about his journey from where he was at back in 2016 when he put out his last project up until now. I feel like he didn't really let us into like his deepest thoughts as like where he's at now compared to like where he's been and his journey up until that point. I don't think he did as good of a job as he could have of really highlighting that story where he's been at in the past few years, you know what I'm saying? Like on a personal level, but maybe that's not what he was going for, but I really feel like he's gone for like 5 years. I feel like he could have done that for the fans and so really give us a lot more tracks where he really let us in as to like what took so long to put out this album, like where he's been at, like what he's been up to, where his mental's been at. Like I don't even know. But all in all, this album still has bangers and a lot of really cool tracks. Some of my favorite tracks are probably the intro, Dark Side, was pretty cool, I think. I like Claymore with Shmino. Shout out to Claymore. I like Claymore. I like Headshots for the Locals. I don't like that really. I like that song. I hated Lay With Ya when I first heard it months ago. I hated Lay With Ya, but it grew on me over time. So I like Lay With Ya even though I hated it when I first heard it. I like Headshots a lot. I like that track. That's one of the singles off the album as well. I love All Herb with Mindy. I think that's her name, Mindy. I like All Herb. All Herb was cool. A lot of these tracks are really experimental in terms of like, not so much their production, but in terms of the arrangements. A lot of these songs were really experimental. And for some tracks, it really worked. But for some tracks, I was like, this isn't bad, but I feel like it almost felt like some of these tracks felt kind of lazy in their with their arrangements. You know what I'm saying? But it didn't sound bad. It sounded like, okay, I feel like you could have came up with something either better or something different to have made this even spicier of a track. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, not all tracks. Just a few tracks felt like that. True Story was cool. I love J-Rock's verse on that. Shout out to J-Rock on True Story. I like what you said. I didn't like the track at first, but it grew on me. Yeah, I feel like a lot of tracks are really growers. Like a lot of the tracks on this album, they don't really sound good when you first hear them, but after you hear them for a couple more times, you really get into them when you've heard them for a couple times. You know what I'm saying? I feel like that's a good theme for like a lot of tracks on this album. Like when you first hear them, it's like, but then when you hear more, you're like, all right, it's cool. You know. Let's see. I also like Don't Shoot was cool. And I like Score with SZA and Black. Score is my favorite track off the album. It's the R&B track on the album. It has SZA and Black on it. It's a really cool track. I love the way they arranged it. Play right, goddamn. Good, keeping score tonight. So I like Score a lot. Yeah, so this album was cool. I'll probably give it like a 3.5 out of 5. It's definitely not a bad album, but I also feel like it's not the best of what Isaiah could have given to us, to be completely honest. I don't think it's the best of what he could have given to us as a whole project, especially with him, having 5 years to give it to us. I don't think this is the best he could have given us, but it's still a pretty good album. Pretty good album with a lot of cool highlights, you know. And I also like From the Garden with Lil Uzi Vert. I like From the Garden a lot with Lil Uzi Vert too. That was a cool track. All right, next album I'm gonna talk about really quickly is Tink's album, Hear the Moment. I am a Tink stan. I love Tink so much. I love her so much. I really feel bad about what's happened to her career from when she first came onto the scene up until now. I feel like Tink really could have been like one of our biggest artists when she first came onto the scene, but I feel like, you know, her shit going wrong with, you know, Timbaland and her being on Epic and all that stuff, like it just went left. But I'm just glad she's still here doing her thing, and you know, on I think she's on Empire now. So she's doing her thing on Empire now. She gives us like a project every year. So now we have her new album, Hear the Moment. It's a pretty cool album. I think for the most part, a lot of tracks are, I wouldn't say forgettable, but I think the problem with this album, most of it was produced by Hitmaker. And while every track sounds great, I think a lot of the songs, they end up bleeding into one another in terms of how they sound, and also the, you know, thematically, every track is about like, you know, oh, I was dealing with this dude and he, you know, he fucked me over and now shit, you know, shit went left and I'm trying to pick up the pieces. Like that's like what most of this album feels like. Or, you know, I'm living my life, I'm trying to get to the bag, I'm doing my thing, you know, come get with me. Like that's like the vibe of this whole album. But every track feels like it's like one of those two things. And while no track sounds like, most of the tracks don't sound bad, it just, like I said, it just sounds like every song, it's just like a different version of another song on the album, you know. And I think with Hitmaker producing most of it, like I said, everything sounds great, but not a lot of stuff stands out on the album. You know what I'm saying? So that's my only issue with the album. Not a lot of stuff stands out, but everything still sounds good. You know what I'm saying? So, but my favorite tracks on the album are probably Hear the Moment. I remember I love that track a lot. Hear the Moment was great. I think Selfish with Young Blue was cool. Let's see, what else did I like? Rebel with Jeremiah was cool. I like Regret a lot. I Might Let You with DaBaby's one of my favorite tracks on the album. I love that song. That was a song that actually did kind of stand out a little bit because that was like a little Afro beats vibe. It stood out. It was really cool. I forgot the sample that was on that song, but it was a really good sample. I forgot what sample it was though. But I love Might Let You with DaBaby. They killed that track. Let's see. I kind of forgot what else was good because everything kind of sounded like the same. I think Prove It was good. I think Dangerous was good too. I can't remember, to be honest, but yeah, this album I'll probably give like a 3 or 3.5 out of 5. Definitely not a bad album at all, but it just kind of felt like I want Tink to start taking more risk with producers and with arrangements and with themes. You know, I want her to start taking more risk. Like I feel like she was really in her bag when she was with Timbaland because I feel like Timbaland gave her really interesting beats, and I feel like she wasn't afraid to like be like weird and different on those songs. But I feel like now in her career, I feel like she's trying to sound like every other little, like, you know, R&B chick that has like a hip-hop vibe to her. I feel like she's trying to sound like everybody else, and like even though she has a really unique voice, I feel like her music is starting to sound like everybody else's music. You know what I'm saying? I want her to really carve out her own lane that she can just kill. You know what I'm saying? I'm waiting on that for Tink, but for now, the music she's giving us is good, but I want her to go to the next level because I know she can do it. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I want for Tink. But Hear the Moment was a cool little project. Every song sounded great. I want more from Tink. You know what I'm saying? I want more. All right, now let's talk about Leon Bridges' album, Gold Digger Sound. This is Leon Bridges' third studio album on Columbia, and this might be his most quietly released album. And you know, it didn't debut in the top 10 like all of his other albums have done. This debuted in the top 20, so this is kind of a quiet release for Leon Bridges, but it was a really cool album. I don't think this is his best album. I still think his best album might still be Good Thing. I know a lot of people love Coming Home, but I just have an affinity for Good Thing. I love that album. But this album was still pretty good, had a lot of gems on it. Even though I don't think it's his best album, it still is a really good project. I love Born Again, the intro track with Robert Glasper. That was a really cool track about, you know, just being born again, you know, out of the pandemic, just kind of like, you know, coming into a new season, trying to like, you know, just everything brand new in terms of your perspective and your experiences and all that. So that was a cool track. I love Motorbike, the first single off the album. Motorbike is a cool track. Steam is also, I think it's the latest single off the album, really cool song. I love the bounce on Steam. It has a really cool bounce to it. So I like Steam a lot. The video's cool too. I also love Why Don't You Touch Me. Why Don't You Touch Me is a gem. It's not often we get a ballad from a black man talking about not being wanted or loved by his girl. We don't get that a lot. And this was a beautifully written, arranged, and produced track that I really feel like should blow up, but it probably won't. In my opinion, I feel like Why Don't You Touch Me should be like one of his signature songs. It's a beautiful record, but I don't think it's gonna blow up like that. But I love this song. Why Don't You Touch Me is an amazing record. I gem up the album. I like Magnolias too. Magnolias is cool. Let's see. I like Details too. Details was cool. Shown Off was alright to me. Shown Off was alright. I love Sweeter. I've been loving that song since it came out last summer, in the height of the, you know, Black Lives Matter protests. I love that song, talking about, you know, just you know, all the stuff we've been talking about in terms of, you know, Black Lives Matter and us wanting our rights and all this stuff. That's what that song highlighted. It's a beautiful song. With Terrence Martin as featured as well, playing, you know, doing this thing. I love it. Yeah, man. So yeah, and the other two tracks, Don't Worry and Blue Mesa, so cool. Don't Worry is cool. It's alright. Yeah, so this album, like I said, not his best album in my opinion, but really solid album. Definitely one of the best R&B albums of the year. I love how he evolved into kind of having more of like a modern soundless album. I feel like whereas his first album was really, you know, old school throwback sound, and his second album was the same thing but like way more updated. I feel like this album is him fully diving into like, you know, modern current sounds and still trying to make it feel classic and old school, but while still being fully drenched in like a modern aesthetic in terms of the production, which is mostly done by Ricky Reed and Nate Merceno. I forgot how you say his last name, but yeah, those are the guys who really worked on this album. They're the same guys who worked on his last album heavily too as well. So this album feels like a continuation of Good Thing, but in a more modern way, and I like it. But I still feel like I really wish he would have taken more time to just create just a few more songs that really would have been like magic. Just a few more. I think this album could have used like one or two more tracks that would have been like magical. But for the most part, it's still a really good project. So I'm really proud of Leon. I'll probably give this album a 4 out of 5. It's a solid album. Even Leon Bridges making an okay album is still better than most people these days. So, you know, that he still gets a 4 out of 5 from me. Yeah, so I got it on vinyl because I love hearing Leon Bridges' voice and his vibe on, you know, in that type of setting. So I got it on vinyl. Love this album. Shout out to Leon Bridges. The next album I want to talk about is Young Blue's album, Moon Boy. So let's talk about Young Blue. Moon Boy. I can't figure out whether or not this boy wants to be classified as a rapper or an R&B singer. I can't tell. And I'm not mad at that, but I kind of like, I don't know. I kind of feel like he's using both worlds to his advantage, and I'm okay with that. But I feel like I don't know how I feel about it. I really don't know how I feel about it. But yeah, I can't tell if Young Blue is a rapper or a singer. I can't tell, or if he wants to be both. Like I wish he would like explain what he wants to be. Do you want to be a rapper or a singer or both? Like what do you want to do? I don't know. But yeah, so this album is really cool. Mixture of like R&B songs with like hip hop vibes in there. A lot of really cool hip hop and R&B feature artists too. We got people like her on Tired of You, which is a standout for me. I like the Shaka Kaylani, Beautiful Lies. I love Your Mind Still, Drake. Obviously, that's a big hit from this past year. I also love Baddest with 2 Chainz and Chris Brown. I love Baddest as well. This album was alright to me. It had a lot of tracks I did not like. Let me highlight them for y'all. So yeah, in terms of the tracks I did like, besides the ones I just mentioned, I do like Dark Clouds was cool as well. I like Dark Clouds. Yeah, I like Last Summer too. Last Summer was cool. But the rest of the album I really didn't like at all. So I didn't like Angels Never Cry. I didn't like Contract Killers. I didn't like the track with Big Sean, Way More Close. I didn't like Shoebox at all. I didn't like Waterworks. I didn't like Unforgiving with Davido. I didn't like that track at all. I didn't like Old Days. I didn't like Ghetto Lovebirds. So yeah, so though I didn't like half this album I didn't like at all, and then half the album I was rocking with. So I probably give this album like a 3 out of 5. To me, it's not a flop album, it's not a bad album, but I'm waiting for Young Blue to really come out. I mean, I think this is his first album, so I'll give him grace. This is his first album, but I'm looking forward to him coming out with more focused projects. I feel like this album's kind of all over the place thematically, even though it was supposed to have like this like Earth, Moon Boy vibe. Like the theme didn't really carry through to the album tracks. Like it was just a bunch of random tracks about a lot of different shit. Like, so this album didn't really have a strong theme throughout it. It felt like a mixtape of like random tracks coming together, and some tracks were great, some tracks were not. So yeah, I'll probably give this album 3 out of 5. So but let me know what y'all think about Young Blue's album Moon Boy. Alright, now let's get into the albums that dropped on July 16th. First, we're going to talk about Pop Smoke's album, Faith. So my thoughts on Pop Smoke's album, at the end of the day, I know a lot of people are really frustrated with the way his label put this album together because they're just doing it for money, which is obvious. At the end of the day, I think it's fucked up how they're doing it, and I really wish that they took their time to put this album together. Like, I feel like they could have easily put this album out next year. Like, they didn't need to put it out this year. We're still rocking to shoot for the stars, aim for the moon. So it's not like this album needed to come out this year. It didn't need to come out now. So I feel like they really rushed it. Instead of taking time to really put together the right songs in the right order and having made it like almost a masterpiece, I feel like they could have made it like a much better album than they made it if they had taken their time to like not rush release it this year. They could have put out next year after giving Shoot for the Stars, Aim for the Moon a little bit more time to simmer in the marketplace. And in terms of the way they sequenced it, it just felt like when you only have so many Pop Smoke vocals to use, when you only have so many hooks to use and so many verses to use, it's gonna sound weird when you have a feature artist on every damn track, and when you're hearing lines repeated throughout the whole album. I feel like he had multiple songs where he was saying, ass fat jello, stuff like that. Like, I feel like he had multiple lines in the album where I was hearing it many times, and yeah, it didn't feel that cohesive. It kind of felt like a interesting mixtape. Like, it didn't feel like a cohesive album, and obviously it's hard to do that when you have an artist who's passed away. Rest in peace, Pop. But at the same time, even though that was all frustrating and whack, I'm not mad at the fact that the album got released, because I want, as a fan of Pop Smoke, and as I would see most of his fans would want him to have a legacy of albums for his a catalog of albums for his legacy. You know what I'm saying? By the time Pop passed, he never had an album out. Shoot for the Stars, Aim for the Moon was actually a pretty good album. I think for the most part it was a pretty good album. It wasn't perfect, but it was a pretty good album. Shout out to 50 Cent for getting that together. And I feel like in terms of the way they rolled out that album, was way better in terms of how like that rollout felt way more organized. It was a better put together album. And a lot of the vocals felt better because I think they had way more to work with for that first project. Whereas with this album, it feels like they were just kind of putting things together and just trying to fit things so they could fit it, and getting every damn artist in the industry to help out. And it just felt way more calculated, manufactured, and it felt really soulless. You know what I'm saying? Faith it's a serviceable album, but it feels really soulless compared to Shoot for the Stars, Aim for the Moon, which almost felt like an album that Pop was gonna put out if he had been alive. Up until summer 2020. It feels like that album felt like an album he really could have put out by himself. He could have authorized by himself. Whereas Faith doesn't feel like an album that Pop would have authorized if he was still alive right now. But you could just tell his label's just trying to do what they can to get the bag, because they know he's gonna stream well. People are gonna come out and buy his shit. But I really wish, with them knowing that they took more time to make a better product. not only for his legacy, but also just for the fact that I feel like when you have a better product, it's gonna sell more, it's gonna stream better as time goes on. Compared to, like, with his Faith album, it's getting a lot of love right now, but I don't know if it'll be getting bought and streamed as much as his first album will years from now, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, so this Faith album was alright. Disappointed in the way they rolled it out, but you know, like I said before, the entertainment industry is cold and it's all about the bag. That's what I care about. So my favorite tracks of the album, I don't think I have many, but Television with Kanye and Pusha T was cool. I like Television. I like Minnesota with Rick Ross and The Dream. Minnesota was cool. I like I like About a Million with 21 and Roy to Dog. That was cool. I like About a Million. 30 with Busy Banks was cool. I didn't like it at first, but a Gourmet. I like 30. Busy Banks is a really cool rapper. I need to get into him. He's a really cool rapper. Shout out Busy Banks. I like Beat the Speaker. That was a cool track. Mr. Jones, I think that track is cool. A lot of y'all love it though. A lot of y'all love Mr. Jones. Mr. Jones is cool. I like the vibe on it. It's cool. Woo Baby was I like it. Chris Brown's, you know, it's a cool vibe. I low-key like Demeanor with Dua Lipa. Y'all know I'm a Dua Lipa stan, so I like Demeanor. I know it's like a weird track for most pop fans, I get it, but at the end of the day, I think it's a vibe. I don't know if Pop would have had it on his album if he was still alive. I don't know about that, but I still think Demeanor is a cool track. You know what I'm saying? I like Dua Lipa on it. I like how it's like a different song for Pop, because I feel like Pop would have made songs that were more popish and more different if he had still been alive. I feel like he would have done that over time. So I'm not mad that they made the track. It's a cool track. I think it's alright. You know, definitely not like a song of the year, but it's a cool little vibe. I like it. You know what I'm saying? But I like pop music. But if you don't like pop music, I can understand you hating that song. But as someone who I like pop music, I like that song, so it's cool. Two of the For All tracks I hated. I forgot which ones they were. I think it was oh yeah, I hated Top Shotta. That For All track I hate Top Shotta. I hated that song. I also hated what was the other For All track that I didn't like? Yeah, Spoiled. I didn't like Spoiled at all, but I did like Merci Beaucoup. So shout out to For All on that track. I like Merci Beaucoup. I think that's the one he produced as well. I like Questions. That was cool. I feel like Questions would be a cool single. I like Questions as well. And Rundown was cool as well. Yeah, and the track with Quavo and Kodak. Yeah, Backdoor was cool as well. I like the track with Quavo and Kodak Black. So yeah, a lot of tracks are cool on this album. For the most part, I like most of the album. But there were some tracks I was like, what the hell is this? The two For All tracks I didn't like. And yeah, some other tracks I was like, I was cool on. But for the most part, it's a pretty cool album. I'd probably give it a 3 out of 5. It's not a bad album, but I wish they took more time to have really made it a better product, you know? That's just my opinion, so. Yeah, but let me know what y'all think about the Pop Smoke album. And if y'all think it was like good or y'all think it was whack, y'all think like, what are all your thoughts on the whole rollout of the album and all that? Let me know what y'all think about it. Next album I'll talk about is Willow Smith's album, Lately I Feel Everything. I'm so proud of Willow Smith. Willow Smith came out with the new album, Lately I Feel Everything, back in July 16th. Giving us, you know, rock alternative vibes. If you watched my BSM 18, you know that I already love the intro track, Transparent Soul, the first single off the album. It's like her first charting song in like a decade. I love Transparent Soul with Travis Barker. Such a good song, my favorite songs of the year. I love that song, I play it all the time. I love that song. I also love Don't Save Me. I love the track Lipstick. Lipstick is also one of my favorite tracks of the year so far. I love Lipstick. That song, every time I hear Lipstick, I go into a zone. I spread my wings, the sun they see, I owe it all to you. I love that song. Every time I hear this song, I go into a zone. That song is just as a complete vibe. Lipstick, one of my favorite songs of the year, one of my favorite songs by Willow, one of my favorite songs off this album. I love that song. Lipstick needs a video. I want a video for that track. I love that song. I also like Come Home a lot. I like Come Home. I love Extra with Tierra Whack. Shout out to Extra. I love that song. And I also love Grow with Avril Lavigne, Charles Barker. I just need to grow. Yeah, I love that song. So I'm so proud of Will Smith for giving us like a really good, you know, alternative rock album. It feels authentic and genuine. It doesn't feel calculated. It doesn't feel corny. It feels like, you know, it really feels like her lane. I'm glad she's going through, you know, going down this lane. I feel like it fits her. The music is popping. The album is good. I feel like I don't feel like this is gonna be like her opus, but I feel like this is gonna be the album that like is the bridge between like the next project or maybe the project after that being like her opus that like brings her to like a next level of being like a superstar. But I feel like this is gonna be like one of those albums that will like be on the journey towards her getting there. But I'm looking forward to how this album like will help to inform her next projects, where hopefully she'll get into a zone and she'll make a masterpiece for the decade. Like I really feel like Will Smith has I really feel like she has the ability to make like one of the best like alternative rock albums of the decade with her next few projects. Not this one, but this album will be the album that helped her on that journey. I'm excited to see what she does next. But this album was amazing. I'll probably give it maybe a 3.5 or 4. I'll probably give it a 3.5 out of 5. It does feel like it was a really short album. It had like 11 tracks, but it's like 20 something minutes. So it's a really short album, but it's a really like no time feels wasted. It's a really good album. But I'm looking forward to her creating a longer and more focused and more, I don't know, just a more daring album. But this album is still pretty good for what it is. So I love this album. Shout out to Willow Smith. Shout out to Willow for giving us this out of the blue unexpected gem this year. At least for me, I love this album. It's really gone under the radar. It's kind of quiet. It's really gone under the radar, but I would definitely implore y'all to check out this album. It's a gem. I love this album, so definitely go check it out. Willow really gave us one on this album. So shout out to Willow. She really gave us one on this project. Blxst Bino Rideaux. I don't know how to say his name. shout out to this combo. I have to admit, shout out to Bino Rideaux, whatever his name is. I don't got no beef with him, but Blxst, I'm gonna need for you to go out on your own, my guy. I'm gonna need for you to go out on your own. Blxst, you have a voice and a pen and a production ability that is out of this world. All three of those out of this world. Whereas I know Bino Rideaux might be your boy, so you want to bring him along for the ride. You know, in terms of you coming up in the game, I get it. But Blxst, you are a grown ass man, and when you are grown, you learn the lesson that sometimes not everybody can come with you. Blxst, not everybody can come with you. I'm okay with him having these projects where he's working with his boy. Like I guess this is the second installment in their Sixtape series. So this is Sixtape 2, which came out I think the same week, July 16th. Maybe this is the series of mixtapes he wants to do with his homie. I get it, but my thing is Blxst. I'd rather you focus your energy on making solo projects, because as a solo star, that's where it's at with you. Your voice is magnetic. Like Blxst, you have a voice that comes through on a speaker so amazingly. Like his tone, the way he attacks tracks is like your ears just perk up to me hear Blxst's voice. Whereas with Bino, no shade to him, he just sounds like a lot of other people. Like Bino doesn't bring anything special to the game, and I feel like Bino is like muting and he's like dampening your light, Blxst. Like no shade. Like every time, like for this whole Sixtape 2 track, damn near almost every track off this mixtape is dope. I like every track off this mixtape, but the problem is every time Blxst was on the track, I'm like, oh my god, I'm like, yes, it sounds amazing. Production most of that he did, fire. His voice, fire. Arrangements and the melody and all that, fire. But then as soon as Bino come on, I'm like, all right. Like every time Bino come on, I'm like, I kind of go back down. I'm like, okay, cool. All right. But then when Blxst come back on, I'm like, okay, hey. Like when Blxst come back on, I'm like, I'm fully back in it. Like Blxst has a really magnetic thing about his voice and about the way he makes tracks. It's like, I just want him to I want him to focus on have your features, that's fine, but I don't want him to do any more collaborative mixtapes, because I feel like Blxst is someone that should just be like, Blxst is a unicorn. Like he needs to make his own projects that people can feature on them. I don't mind Bino being a feature on your projects, but I don't want any more collaborative mixtapes with you and other people, because Blxst, you need to be by yourself. Your voice is so special, your music is so special that you need to be by yourself. Point blank, period. So this Sixtape release was cool, but like I said, Bino really drowned out all the greatness for me. But Blxst's parts were amazing. I don't even want to highlight favorite tracks, because I think almost every track off this project was dope. But I know I loved Pop Out. Movie was dope. Program was dope. One of them ones was dope. I love One of Them Ones. She Perfect was cool. Like, yeah, what is it was cool. Time Will Only Tell. Yeah, like every track of this mixtape was dope. Like, I love Blxst's production, the West Side, you know, G-Funk vibe of it all. Like, but he still has his own little, like, production choices in there that are very consistent and always sound really good. I love the way he produces. Like I said, his voice is crazy. So shout out to Blxst, man. One of my favorite upcoming artists in the rap game. I love Blxst. He's like an R&B singer, but like he rap in like a rap way. It's really cool. I love his vibe, you know. Almost like a Ty Dolla $ign. Like he be singing, but he has like a hip hop vibe and persona, and it works. I love it. His voice is so special. Shout out to Blxst. I love his music, man. Shout out to Blxst. All right, next album I'm gonna talk about is Vince Staples' album. This is Vince Staples. I believe it's his third album, self-titled Vince Staples. This came out July 9th. Shout out Vince Staples. This album is interesting because I liked every track for what it was. Like, every track for what it was cool, but at the same time, this album to me didn't really stand out in the marketplace. You know what I'm saying? Vince Staples has a really unique aura about him and his music that I love. But at the same time, this album really did feel kind of like come and go. You know what I'm saying? This album felt really come and go. I kept most of the tracks. Because there's not one track I didn't dislike. But I feel like for a lot of people, this album will be hella forgettable. Which is disappointing because I really thought this was gonna be like his opus. I really was looking forward to this album being like his masterpiece. I was looking forward to this album being like one of the most memorable albums of the year. But unfortunately, I feel like this album really came and went, and it's kind of forgettable. And it just didn't feel like he put that much energy into it. Like, Kenny Beats did a really good job of production for the most part. I feel like most of the tracks are produced really well. Shout out to Kenny Beats. I think Kenny Beats produced most of the tracks on the album. So, you know, Kenny Beats did a good job of production, but Vince just feels really muted and like really laid back and kind of in the background. A lot of these tracks, I'm not in the background, but I don't know. He just feels like he's kind of just like going through the motions on these tracks. You know what I'm saying? Like, really cool, you know, really cool bars. Not, you know, not memorable, but cool bars. But it feels like he's just going through the motions. You know, it doesn't feel like he's trying to give you like a message or like, I don't know. It just feels like it's just Vince being Vince on records. Like, a lot of these songs sound like demos that are vibes, but like, you know, with more energy, with more care, they could have been taken to another level. You know what I'm saying? So that's how this album feels. But it's a pretty good album for the most part. Like, it still has a lot of good vibes in it. I like the VERZUZ tracks. Are You With That and Love Averages? They're cool. I like The Shining. That was a cool track. Taking Trips was cool. Let's see. The track with Wish was cool. Take Me Home. That was a cool track. Lakewood Mall was a cool, really interesting interlude. Was a cool outro for the album. Yeah, but another album that came out this year that was really short. It's like 20-something minutes, really short album. Even though it has several tracks, but really short. And it just feel like when it's done, it feels like you listen to it and like, okay, this album is cool, but is there more? Like, you know, I was hoping for more from this. You know what I'm saying? That's how the album feels. But it's a cool vibe. So Vince Staples, I probably give this album like a 3 or 3.5 out of 5. Not a bad album at all. It definitely feels like he could have put more into it. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I'm looking forward to Vince's next projects, but I was kind of disappointed by how come and go this album felt. You know. So that's just me. But let me know what y'all thought about Vince Staples' album. The next project I'll talk about is Amorphous' album or his EP, Things Take Shape. I'm so proud of my guy Amorphous. I've been following him for years. If you're not up on his journey, go follow Amorphous on Twitter and Instagram and YouTube. Amorphous is a guy I love. A young dude who he started out making mashups and, you know, doing a lot of stuff around film. He went to film school. But in terms of the media roles, he really got his name from making mashups online for years. I still love all of his mashups today. I still love all of his mashups, and they're all amazing. So he's like a mashup king. And then he like, but I didn't know the whole time. Well, actually, I did know, but now the world finally knows that he wants to be a producer. Because, you know, once Oprah discovered him and, you know, Fat Joe, a lot of other people discovered him, he's really been coming up in the ranks. You know, he got to DJ at the BET Awards, which is dope. I'm so proud of him. He's been doing his thing. And now he's out with this first project. I think he got signed to Empire Records. So now he's like actually signed to Empire as an artist and as a producer. Shout out to Amorphous. I'm so proud of you, bro. Amorphous came out with his debut EP called Things Take Shape, and it has tracks with some of my favorite artists in the game, you know, like Brandy, Kelly Rowland, Kehlani, you know, so really cool EP. My favorite tracks off the EP are definitely The Wave of Brandy. It has a nice little cool like 2000s Timbaland vibe on it. I love what he did on it, but it still has like his signature like vibe on it, so I like that. I'm looking forward to seeing Amorphous kind of like really grow into his own sound and grow into his own lane, you know what I'm saying, in terms of what he wants to do production wise. I'm looking forward to him growing into that, you know. But yeah, The Way with Brandon was cool. Intro track, I love the 2000s Timbaland vibe on it, like I said. Ride the wave. It has a nice cool little bounce on it too. It feels like a 2000s like Timbaland banger. I love it. Has a good bounce on it. Then we got my least favorite track on the EP, but it's not a bad track, but it's a cool track. My least favorite, but it's cool. Called The Flow, with him and an artist named KOH. Cool track, but not my favorite. Then we got Back Together with Kehlani. Another one of my favorite tracks off the EP. I love this song. It's been out for months now. I love this track. Shout out to Kehlani. She killed it on Back Together. And then we got Midnight Strikes with Ray. A nice little cool dance house track that I like. And then we get the track The Vibe with Bree Runway. Another cool like dance house track that I love. You can tell that Amorphous really likes dance like house vibes, and I love that. Because I love dance and house vibes as well. So I love that Amorphous is making like dance house tracks. I love it. And she's really good at it too. So I like Midnight Strikes and The Vibe. And then the last track we got is Finally Can I Hide It with Kelly Rowland, which is like a remake of the CC Pennington track Finally. Finally, there's an ass into me. You know what I'm saying? Classic shit. He killed it. Kelly Rowland killed it. With her doing her remake on it, she killed it. It was an amazing track. And I love how they performed it. I think like Jimmy Fallon or somewhere like that. They did a great job. I loved it. So Amorphous, out to you. I'm proud of you, my guy. Salute. Keep doing your thing. I'm proud of you. I'm looking forward to seeing what you do in the future. I'm proud of your journey, bro. Keep doing your thing. Shout out Amorphous, man. Go check out his EP, Things Take Shape. Good project. And last but not least, we're going to talk about an album that came out on July 2nd. And that's Laura Mvula's Pink Noise. So, I'm so proud of this woman. This is her third album. She's a UK artist that makes like, you know, R&B, pop, adult contemporary music. I discovered her years ago with her sophomore album, The Dreaming Room. That was a really cool album. They came out like 2016, I think. And now Laura Mvula is back with her third album called Pink Noise, which is a great project and really has like vibes really soaked in like 80s pop. I love this album. This album really harkens back to the 80s with a lot of its instrumentation and with a lot of the arrangements and, you know, the melody choices and just the way she sung these tracks. It feels like classic 80s tracks, but in a new, fresh way. I love this album. This album, Pink Noise, is one of my favorite albums of the year so far. It's a hidden gem. A lot of people don't really know about her because she's a UK artist, so a lot of people in America don't know about her. But she's such a gem. I love her voice. Her voice is so like magnetic. It just soars throughout. Like wherever you're hearing her voice, it just soars. Like her voice just soars. Like her tone is crazy. The writing on this album was really great. Simple, direct, you know, profound. It's just a really great album. From head to toe, no skips. Every track is fire. It's like, what, 10 tracks. Every track, I have it on vinyl too. It's on pink vinyl. I have it on vinyl because it's that good of an album. Every track is amazing. A good balance of up-tempos, a few ballads, a lot of cool mid-tempos, and experimental hip-hop track with Conditional. Some of my favorite tracks, the singles, Safe Passage. I love the song. Such a big... There's also another thing. The production of this album is so like expansive and big and bold, but it's also like chill at the same time. It's a really cool album. I love Safe Passage. Conditional is dope. Really experimental track. Church Girl, one of my favorite tracks of the year. One of my favorite tracks of the album. I love Church Girl. How Can You Dance with the Devil on Your Back? I love that hook. Such a good song. Let's see. Remedy. It's talking about, you know, the Black Lives Matter movement, all the stuff we've been through the past few years. So I love that song. Pink Noise. The title track is a great track. I love that song. Pink Noise is a great track. Woo! Good song. I love how she sounds in that song. And the production is fire too. Let's see. What Matters is a nice ballad. Beautiful ballad. And then Got Me. You got me straight in the bum of your hand, boom boom. It sounds like an 80s Michael Jackson track. It sounds like a track that came right off of Thriller or right off of the Bad album. And it's great. I love it. It sounds like a classic 80s Michael track, and it's so good. All the 80s synths on the album, the production, the way she sung, it sounds like an 80s album, but it's fresh and new. It sounds so good. I love this album. This album is bright. It's effervescent. It's calming, but it'll like lift you up, make you want to dance, but it'll make you think. It is such a good album. I love this album. It's a masterpiece. Laura Mvula, you did an amazing job on this album. Thank you for this project. Thank you for this masterpiece. Such a good album. Amazing. Pink Noise. If you're not checked it out, go check it out. It is amazing. You will not regret it. One of the best albums of the year. Point blank, period. Amazing. Alright, y'all, so that was the last album I talked about, so now we're done. That was episode 19 of The Drop. Hope you guys enjoyed that. Episode 19, and we're done just like that. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know down below what you thought about the video, and let me know down below what you thought about all the stuff I talked about. And for all the albums that came out like in April, May, June that I didn't talk about, I'm sorry, y'all. I never did a drop for those albums, but I'll definitely talk with y'all below in the comments if y'all want my thoughts on all the albums that came out during those months, like, you know, Olivia Rodrigo's album, Tyler Creator's album, you know, Don Rashad's album, all those albums I didn't talk about, but let me know. I can definitely talk about them in the comments if you want as well. But yeah, man, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know all your thoughts down below, and that's it, man. And if y'all ready, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, okay? Appreciate y'all. Like I always say, guys, live your best life, drink more water, stay woke, and if you're mad or sad, go listen to your favorite song, make you feel better, okay? Go listen to your favorite song. But alright, y'all, this has been your boy Bright, the R&B kid. Thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it. But for now, let me get a little closer. Let me go closer. Whoop, whoop, whoop. For now, I'm signing off, baby. Bye, y'all. Peace.
I came to vibe, you came to function, just do that, baby. Don't worry about nothing, no, 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 no. I came to vibe, you came to function, just do that, baby. Don't worry about nothing, no, no, no. Relax just a little bit, you don't gotta worry, you can just